Again, a lot of contribution to the Indian community here in US as well as India. His grandfather was the mayor of high-tech city, Bangalore. His father, Mr. Vishwanath, started ITV way back in 1976. That made a big difference for the whole Indian American community here in US. That was the first Indian channel that was started in 1976, and that is Vishwanath family. An attorney by profession, Mr. Vishwanath went to law school, Pace University. He has a practice here in New York as well as in Bangalore. Mr. Vishwanath won numerous awards, recently also by Mayor de Blasio for his contribution to the Indian American community.
Thank you, Mr. Kambati, and I'm going to use the word Yali or Hayali. The reason why I say that is, as a profession, I am an immigration attorney, and the immigration bar is by the same acronyms, right? It's AILA. So AILA, and I'm so used to, lawyers often are used to using acronyms, so that's the first thing that comes out. But I will say IALI, just to keep things, in consistency. But I really do appreciate the award tonight, and as Mr. Kumbhati has said, the idea of community service has stemmed from even my grandparents. My grandfather was very involved with the community in Bangalore and in Karnataka and India as a whole. He had always promoted the idea of helping those that were less fortunate, as well as really putting an emphasis on promoting education for the youth, particularly the underprivileged youth. And my father's father was very involved with government service as an Amaldar and then as a Tahsildar. And he also really inculcated the idea of not only faith, but working through faith. And being a government servant was a way to promote working through faith. And then when my parents came to this country in '62, my father came here as a physician, and soon enough they realized that they became a bridge between the Indian community and the American community. My father was sort of totally involved with medicine, but my mother realized that she could be that connection with the local community, working in Bharatiya Bhavan, and also in the Indian consulate, working with other Indian communities, as well as the Kannada community, Rajasthani community, Maharashtrian community, Telugu community. And I grew up in an environment where that was normal. That was what it was about. Interacting with aunties and uncles and doctors and engineers and politicians who represented really the birth, in my opinion, the birth of the Indian American. The birth of somebody who was from another land, but really became a part of the U.S. This became their adopted home. And that's what I was raised with. That's what I knew from the birth to the day that you see me with two little children along the way. And what I have tried to provide for myself was that idea. It's important, very important to get involved, because this is our home, the place where we raise our families, the place where we work and interact with individuals. And the ability to do community service, to teach those who are coming up in the field are important. And if I can be an instrument to help those things along and be of service to our community as well as the larger New York and American community, then I'm happy to do it. And I pray to God that in the end days, when we're talking about the third generation, it's an easy transition, and my kids see that it's not only a good opportunity and good idea to do community service, but it's good for being a good human being. So thank you all, thank you IALI, and thank you Mr. Kumbhati and everyone.
I'm here with our very own Dave Vishwanath. and he's the General Counsel for International Television Broadcasting. And Dave, congratulations. I mean, it's like, we know Dave so very well, and it's such a pleasure to see that you're honored tonight by the Indian Association of Long Island. Tell us, we have, Indians have come a long way, whether it's Long Island or whether it's the five boroughs or whether it's New York State or United States. What's your take? I mean, where we're going and how much we've achieved.
Wow.
And taking with you in particular your success story.
No. Well, Renee, I appreciate what ILE has done and the enormous honor that they've provided me, because I definitely don't believe I deserve it, but I will take this as an acceptance on behalf of my family and definitely what ITV has done as well. I would like to think that my parents and I think a lot of Indian Americans can agree that we've been taught to provide for the community. And I'd like to say that some of what I do as a lawyer and definitely working with the community has come from that ideology, that very South Asian ideology, and I hope to impart that on the kids.
Scriptures, Dave, like selfless service,
Right.
doing good for humanity, and that's
Right.
I think it's indoctrinated in all of us.
That's right. You don't need to perform rituals necessarily to know what your spiritual calling is to do, and I follow that. And the Indian American community is growing leaps and bounds. I mean, we're in every aspect of society. We're politicians, we are government workers, we are police officers, we're lawyers and doctors, and it's great because we see what's happening here is, I think, a cultural meld where we're able to sort of not just reinvent Indian American, but to be fully American and still be proud of being Indians, We
are reinventing being Indian American, but at the same time we're hybrid Indian American, but we are also fully American, as you rightly said.
Well, I've always said that, the South Asian community and the Desi diaspora in the UK, one difference that I had noticed for a long time was that they felt, or they seemed to feel very comfortable with being British, but at the same time so Desi. And I always felt that the Indian American community was a little unclear with that as a society as a whole. We were a little uncomfortable with that, and we're finally starting to now see a comfortability where I can feel totally comfortable being Desi, but at the same time, but be American. And I really do think that the British Indian is a very good example of the direction that we're going in, because in some ways they're a role model.